Hello, welcome to Chewerks. My name is Karla of Karla Pestotnik Racing. This is Rob Chu of Chewerks. We're here at the new Chewerks shop and we're going to be installing a spoon 4-point roll bar on Honda S2000.
It should add some chassis rigidity, so that's always good on any car. And obviously the fact that you have a extra roll bar, because you're not going to be removing your factory roll hoops. It does add a level of protection to you if you do roll over. So what we're going to be doing first is going to remove both front seats of the vehicle. That just gives a little bit more room to work with on the roll bar, and make sure, obviously we don't want to scratch these nice seats up when we're trying to install the roll bar.
And there's two 12s in the front, two 14s in the rear. Generally, there's a little trick to it that I like to use. I loosen the fronts first, and then get in the car, slide the seat forward, and then it's easier to reach the backs after you do that.
So there is a seatbelt sensor connected to the seat. You want to definitely disconnect that. You can't really see it, you just got to feel for it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Pre-fit roll bar into the vehicle. Figure out where you want to drill, and just drill.
Oh, sorry.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's not get that one on camera, okay?
Did the same. I'm just putting two bolts on so that way the roll bar will stay sort of in place while we drill the rest of the holes, because we don't want to misalign holes. We are gonna test fit the reinforcement brackets on the vehicle, and I want to see if we could drill from the bottom, because trying to access the bolts from the top might be a little bit harder than anticipated because of the fact that it still has the factory soft top. So drilling's not the easiest thing from the top right now. So trying a different way. This is the reinforcement bracket that goes on the underneath of the vehicle. Basically, because of the fact that the sheet metal is pretty thin on the chassis, you want to put a plate on the bottom side to prevent it from ripping through. So we just put the temporary bolt in place for a second just so we could drill the rest of the holes. And now that we have the rest of the holes, we can put the bracket back on. Which goes like that. So it's gonna go right there. I'm just checking the space to see where I need to put this bar. 1/4 inch of gap right now between the chassis and the rear bar, and that's probably because of this carpet. So we need to cut carpet. Once we remove the bolt, we're gonna trim the factory carpet a little bit just so we could put the roll bar underneath the carpet. We're gonna lift up the roll bar and try to put it underneath the carpet. I'm just putting the bolt in to reset the roll bar just so it's in place.
So I put on the nut on the bottom side, and I'm holding it with the wrench while Robert tightens the bolt from the top side. So basically, so far, we put one bolt in on each side on the main part of the roll bar, so that we can hold it in place to see where we need to drill the back bolts.
Or also known as the kickers. The kicker needs to go down a little bit, and then
Right there?
let me check. Actually, yes, much better. Yeah, I'm in the back wheel well, marking where I want to drill for this one kicker, which is the easier of the two sides.
I'm pushing as hard as I can backwards on the roll bar, so that Robert can line up the holes.
You can let it go.
Okay.
I'm just test fitting the bracket to where I roughly drilled the hole, and it looks like it'll be okay. It just needs to be like 1 millimeter closer to the left. I want to measure this side to see roughly how far it is from the edge of the body. So that way I know how much the other side roughly needs to be. It's roughly 20 millimeters from the edge of the body. And I want to make sure the other side is roughly 20 millimeters also before I start drilling. Because if it's less, then I know it's not there.
So now Robert's finally starting to drill the other side. Now that he was able to measure using the passenger side of the car how far away from the edge of the body to drill, he's doing that on the driver's side now.
Now that we drilled all 8 holes on the back side, we're gonna pre-fit the bars back in and start putting the bolts through.
So basically he's feeding the bolts through and I'm feeding the bracket through the bolts. And then I'm gonna put the washer and the locking washer and then the nut on it to secure it in place. So right now I'm tightening one bolt that we had the most threads for so that I can expose more threads on all of the other bolts and then I can tighten down those as well, a little bit easier. So now that we finished the rear brackets, I'm gonna install the front brackets. So basically there's 2 and the bracket's gonna align with the shape of the body. So I'm just gonna put it in place and then I'm gonna put the washer and then the crush washer and the nut on just to hold it in place so I can put the other ones on.
Alright, did they all pull through a little bit?
Yeah, they're all good.
Good, okay, let's do the other side.
Just doing the final tightening of all of the bolts by hand, just to make sure they're all secure.
That's good.
They're all 12 millimeter bolts and Robert's on the top side holding the top with also a 12 millimeter wrench.
That's good.
Okay.
We're just tightening the final bracket, or one of the final brackets. We're just finishing up the cage up a little bit, just tightening the couple Allen keys, and there's one crossbar that we need to tighten down, and then after that we're going to be installing the seats. I'm just tightening the 17 millimeter nut on the back side that's held on by an Allen fastener. Alright! It's pretty solid. Pretty impressive.
Sweet.
So you put the 2 seats in. Make sure you don't scratch anything when you put the seat in. That's the only tip you need. Because scratches forever.
So I've owned several S2000s and had several different roll bars in each one of them. And one of the things that I like the most about the Spoon roll bar is the amount of visibility that you get with it. With other roll bars, you'll have bars impeding your field of vision from behind you. So what I really like about the Spoon is that you don't have to worry about that. You know, you look in your rearview mirror and you have a clear view behind you.
So after battling the car for a couple hours, you can tell that we got the Spoon 4-point roll bar in. It took a lot longer than anticipated because obviously the factory soft top was a little bit hard to maneuver around to get to the back bolts to be able to drill the holes for that. But if it had an aftermarket hard top without the soft top in there, it'd be a lot easier because obviously you could remove the hard top and get to those bolts much easier and be able to drill the holes much easier. But all in all, it was a fairly easy install. Would you not agree, Karla?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Could have been a little bit easier, like you said, if there was no soft top installed, but not too bad.
Yeah.
With 2 people, it wasn't as bad.
From the looks of it, I think it looks great. You know, it's functional. It's a nice piece. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Technik, and hope to see you guys again.